Hi, I'm Andy Wall. We're here today to do duct leakage to outside for the PG&E Home Upgrade Program. We are going to set up the blower door and duct tester for duct leakage to outside. We will be pressurizing the house to 25 pascals with reference to the outside and pressurizing the ducts to 0 pascals with reference to the house. This will then give us duct leakage to outside. Do no harm. In our duct leakage to outside testing, we need to make sure that we do not harm the occupants, their homes, any of their possessions, or ourselves. Before starting the test, be sure to check the following. No hazards such as suspected mold or friable asbestos. Air handler is off. Water heater is on pilot. Exhaust fans off. Interior doors open. Exterior doors and windows closed. Supply grills and return grills sealed off. We have a blower door fan, controller for the blower door, manometers, a couple different kinds of manometers here. We have the framework blower door that goes in the doorway. We have the tarp over the framework, some hoses. We have the duct tester. We have a calibration plate that needs to be done occasionally. We have a controller. We have different size openings, rings for the fan. We have a couple different covers from different manufacturers to go over the registers. A couple different kinds. One has a pole, one has a clip for it. And then we have a paint roller for hard to get to with tape. What we're going to do here is we're going to do a field check on our manometers to see if they look like they're accurate. This is not a calibration. A calibration has to go back to the factory or to some entity that can actually do that. All we're going to do is check one manometer against another. And in both these manometers, this has 2 manometers built into this box. This has 2 into this one. They work essentially similar. The test is the same. We would take a piece of hose and we are going to put it on both inputs. And we're going to take a look at these 2 numbers and see that those are very similar. You can see these are only 1/10 or 2 of a pascal off. So that tells us that those should be just fine. And then we're going to do the same with the reference because we want to check the pressure both directions. And this one, we got to wait just a little bit till this drops down. We need the 10th number to show up. So once we get below 200 pascals, the 10th shows up. You can see those are both the same. We would do the same thing with the DG1000. We would hook to both inputs. And these are both set to pressure. So if we look at these numbers here, these are very consistent numbers. Yeah, these are like basically perfect, right? And then we'll do it to the reference port and see that those numbers look the same. Again, those look very, very similar to us. Now, if you have one manometer box and you want to check to another one, you would just, same idea. Run the reference there, we'll hook to the reference here. And we'll take a look at these numbers. And you'll see those all look really, really close to the same number. These are going to be a little out of sync of their test because they do their 1 second at a different interval. But you can see they're very close. So this gives us an idea that our manometers are okay. Why would we do this? We would do this if somebody dropped one or we suspected it wasn't running right. We could test it against another one, and it's very unlikely you would have 2 manometers that would be wrong the same direction. Here we have the blower door frame. We have 2 long bars, 2 short, and 2 cross bars. We want the cams to be turned in like this when we start. In cam to cam on the corners. Now that we've put the frame together, we're going to size it to the doorway. We set the frame inside the doorstop. Make sure our knobs are loose. Do the width first. Tighten the bottom nut, not too tight, just firm. Stand on the frame, pick this up, tighten one side, tighten the other side, and then make sure the top is spread. We don't want this to be too tight in here. We have a tarp to go in, and then we're gonna put this up so that when we go lay our tarp out on the floor, this doesn't fall out on the floor on us. Now that the frame is sized, we're gonna be putting it in the shroud. So we're gonna pull this cam down so it loosens it up, take the frame out, and take it over and put it on the shroud. Now that we've put the frame on the shroud, we're going to make sure it's near the bottom. Do up the Velcro on the bottom first. A little bit of the shroud over the edge. We're going to go to the other end. We're going to push the frame down, make sure that both sides of the shroud are fairly straight. And then we're going to fold in the Velcro. Fold in the top. This piece of Velcro, if you have a tall doorway, you'll hook it. Otherwise, just hang this down. And then we're ready to pick it up and put it back in the doorway. Before we put the shroud and the frame in the doorway, we need to put a hose to the outside. We're going to take this hose, we're going to unwind it. We need to be a minimal of 5 feet away and off to the side of our fan. So we're going to put a piece out here. We're going to leave the rest of it lay on the doorstep here so that when we put the frame and the shroud in, we can reach through and get it. If for some reason you have a rainy day, we cannot leave this in open to the rain. And so one of the things, you could roll this up and put it in a manometer bag. You could have something like this. It's just a cup with some rocks in it, piece of hose tied in a knot in it, put a connector in, and then this would keep you from getting water in the end of your hose. Now that the hose is outside, we're going to put the frame and shroud in the doorway. I'm going to set it in the hinge side first. Slide the rest of it in. And then we're going to push the cams. Get 4 of them. Here's an example if we don't get the frame size correctly to the door. This is actually an easy fix. We would undo the cam at the top, stand on the frame on the bottom, loosen the nut on the side, push it up, retighten the nut on the side cam, and then we would push our side cam in and our upper cam, and then it fits right. Okay, now we're going to install the crossbar to hang the fan and keep the frame in the door better. We're going to loosen the nut. We're going to hook this into the slot at each end. I use the lower set of slots. We're going to pull on this a little bit so that we can put a little pressure on it, retighten the nut, and then push the cam on it. You see it goes quite firm. Now that we have the frame in place, the crossbar's in, we're going to get a hold of this frame and pull on it a little bit and make sure that it's secure so it doesn't fall out when the blower door runs. We're going to take the hose that we left on the doorstep. We're going to take one end of it, put it through the hole in the corner here. We're going to pull about 4 or 5 feet through it so that we have hose to hook to our manometer. Okay, now we're ready to put the fan in the shroud. Tip it down, slide the shroud around. I'm going to take the Velcro through the handle and pull it up. Make sure it's secure. Make sure these are in the sides okay. And we have space underneath so we won't hurt the client's floor. Now we're going to set up the manometer. It has a bracket for it, a hook on here to hang it onto the frame. Here's the controller for it. I'm going to hang it on one of the slots here. And then we have a cable here for our cruise that we'll plug into the top of the manometer. And then we plug it into the side of the controller. Before sealing off the supply registers, we need to find our thermostat for our heating and cooling system. We would set the fan to auto and the system to off so that the fan won't run. Now we're going to turn the water heater to pilot so the burner doesn't run while the blower door is on. This is in the on position. We're going to rotate this around until it points to the pilot. Next step, seal off all supply grills and return grills except the return where the duct tester will be connected to. We're now going to demonstrate how to seal off a supply register. This particular one, we're going to put our pressure tap in. There is a hole in here. This one, we're just going to slide the hose through, tie a small overhand knot in it, pull the extra hose back out. And that's sealed off now. What I'm going to show you here is how to seal off a register when you can't get to it easily. We're going to take some tape. I'm going to use blue tape in this case, and I'm going to make this patch. And this patch is going to be much larger than what the grill is. We're going to make this on a surface somewhere that we're not going to hurt. Might be the back of one of your cases. So this needs to be wider and much longer than what you're needing. Okay, so we're going to make this big patch. Okay, and we're going to press that all together, and then we're going to peel it off and put it on a register. Here we have a clean paint roller, and I'm going to show you how to apply the blue tape patch that we just made. You need a small piece of tape to put on the roller so it doesn't roll. And then I'm going to take my patch, and I'm going to hang it over top of my roller. And you can use any length of pole you need on this. And we're going to kind of center it on our grill. Roll it on. And we want to make sure we leave lots hanging on the ends so that we can actually get this back off again. So there's our patch on that grill that we couldn't get to. This is a pan to go over supply grills or return grills. This comes from some other company. There's a hook to hook into the grill, cord, and a spring-loaded pinch for the cord. In this case, we're going to get up on the ladder. We're going to hook this into the grill. We're going to pinch on the little piece here, slide it up, make sure it's over our grill, and then you're done with it. Okay, in this case, we don't have a commercially made grill. We're using our blue tape to seal off our grill, and we need to put our pressure probe into it. So we're going to take a pen or a pencil, and we're going to poke a hole in between the grill for our hose to go through. We're then going to take a piece of tape, 2 pieces of tape actually, and we're going to put it on our hose. You want to put one on each side like this. So it looks like this. You're going to put the hose in the hole and push the tape up to it, and now you have a sealed hole with tape that shouldn't tear off. Okay, doing the duct leakage to outside test, if we are going to take our static pressure measurement from the supply plenum, We would drill a hole in the supply plenum. We would use a static pressure probe that looks like this, and we would place it into the airstream. And since we're hooking onto the return, air would be going this way through it. Okay, here we're going to hook up the duct tester to a return grill. The first thing we need to do is see where the filter is. In this case, the filter is in the grill. We're going to take it out. Sometimes the filter is in the air handler itself, so we would need to go and take it out of there. We don't want the restriction from this in our system when we're running our duct tester. This particular piece right here is from Duct Block. It is a piece that goes over top of the grill, and then our duct tester hooks onto here. If you don't have something like this, a couple options would be is to tape this onto the grill, either with masking tape, or there's some other tapes out there you can get that are made to go around this. Some people actually take a piece of cardboard and cut it the size of this, cut a hole in it, fasten this inside, and then they would tape the cardboard around the outside. So then this gets fastened onto the grill. The next step, we're going to take this cover, put it over our return. This one has a couple poles on it. We're going to push those against something. If it's in the ceiling, you'd be pushing against the floor. In this case, we're fortunate we have a place that we can push these against. And then we're going to take our duct tester. We have this Velcro strap. We're going to slide this over the collar. Tighten up the strap. And then this is ready. After the duct tester is hooked to the return, then we're going to hook up the controller. There is a plug on the side of it here. And then we make sure that it's turned to off, and this is all the way down. We can plug it in. And then we're going to take our DG700, and we're going to take the hose that goes, the other end of this hose is hooked to a supply grill, our closest supply grill in the house. And we're going to hook this on the input of channel A. And then we're going to take another hose. In this case, I'm going to use a different colored hose so we don't accidentally mix them up. This particular one gets hooked on the input of channel B and gets hooked to the port here on the fan. Now that we have our controller hooked up, we're going to turn on our manometer. This is the DG700. We're going to turn it on. We have a battery voltage will show up here. It's 8 volts, which is fine. We're going to set the mode to pressure flow, PRFL. We're going to set the device. This is the Duct Blaster B version. It's the black one. If you have the white one, it's the Duct Blaster A. And then this is our config. I've looked over the duct system here. I think it's quite leaky, so we're going to leave this to the open configuration. And then we'll be ready to test. Now that I have my manometer set up, I'm going to look at my duct system, determine how leaky I think it is. I have 4 different rings plus an open, this being the leakiest. If I need to use this being the tightest, and this is really my goal. If I'm sealing ductwork, I'd like to be able to use this. Once I've picked out the ring I want to try first, then I'm going to change my config to match what ring I have. And now it's time to hook up our hose from our outside to our blower door manometer. We have reference channel A is where this one goes. Connect it here. And then we're going to take a look. We are 1 second time average. Our cruise is at 25 pascals, which is what we want to pressurize our house to. And then when we've taken our ring off that we need, we'll press the start. And now we're going to remove the ring from the blower door so we can pressurize the house. If you don't happen to have the zipper in here to reach out, you'll have to take the fan out. So we'll undo the Velcro. fan out, we'll take the ring out. In this case, we're going to leave the A ring, so I have the B ring. And then we put the fan back in. And now we're ready to turn on the fan. And now we have our duct testers hooked up. Our manometer is all hooked up for the duct tester. Our blower door and its manometer is hooked up. So we're going to start the blower door on cruise and wait till it gets to 25 pascals. And this will take some period of time. And once it gets to 25, then we will turn on our controller and we're going to turn it up until channel A gets to 0, whatever that takes. And once it gets to 0, we're going to press the hold button, and then channel B will tell us our duct leakage to outside number. And that's how we do duct leakage to outside. Now that I'm all done with my duct test and I need to get this tape off, I'm going to take my roller, take some tape, roll it on backwards so the sticky side is out. And then I'm going to take my roller, get a hold of the end of this, and pull off the tape off the grill. I am Andy Wall. Thank you for watching.